She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. Now, if you've been subscribed to me, you would have known that we have talked about the Jonathan Majors case several months ago, and I will post a link to my prior two videos that we had talking about this case months ago. And this case has since gone to trial. And I just wanted to talk about this case to give an update on the case and just to have us have an open dialogue about what you guys think. Because, you know, when we have our celebrities, a lot of us, when we have our favorite celebrities, we want to protect our favorite celebrities. And even when our celebrities do things that are wrong, we refuse to look at it in an objective way. And we more so want to protect these individuals at all costs. But ladies and gentlemen, individuals must be held accountable for the choices that they make. And this case, you know, had a lot of pros and cons to it. There were different objective sides that you can look at. There was a lot of evidence that came out. There was a video surveillance that came out. There were text messages that came out. There were recordings that came out. And we might take a little bit of looks into those things. But in some of these text messages, Mr. Majors admitted to previously having anger issues. And also, there was a prior incident of this young lady being injured. Now, they cannot in trial use these prior incidents as a basically saying, since this person did it in the past, then they're likely to do it now currently. That would be inadmissible prejudicial evidence, but that evidence was omitted for other purposes. Now, there's so many ways you can analyze the results of this, that he was found guilty of two of the four charges. And looking at how long the jury assessed the file. They assessed the case and the evidence for approximately 5 hours. They asked for updates and clarifications on the evidence. They really took their time to look at the law, to understand the law. They even asked the judge to reread the law to them so that they can understand the law and make sure they applied it correctly. And I believe, in my humble opinion, after looking at all the evidence, that the jury got it right. There were particular charges whereby Mr. Majors was charged with assault, basically meaning recklessly led to the injury, meaning he didn't intend for her to be injured, but when he basically placed his hands upon her to get his phone, he inadvertently caused injury to her. Then the prosecution charged Mr. Majors with an assault with intention to cause physical injury. And the jury assessed the evidence and they found there was no specific intent, which I believe the jury got right, because I don't think Mr. Majors intended to physically injure her. He was intending to get his phone back because he was basically caught in the act. If you guys have been following this case, there was a text message on the phone, basically, whereby the young lady was basically, the woman he was seeing on the side was talking about she couldn't wait to kiss him or something like that to that effect. It was something about kissing him, y'all. I want to see if we can kind of go through some of those pieces of evidence. When I was looking at some of the evidence, and the defense attorney mentioned one of the case laws that an individual can legally retrieve their items if it was taken from them, as long as they don't cause any major physical injuries. Now, I don't know if that particular statute was added to the jury instructions, or if the defense attorney was just basically reiterating this law basically to confuse the jury. That is something would have to be assessed, because us individuals that are in the public did not sit in the trial and hear all of the evidence. And the problem with that, When the public is prohibited from looking and assessing all the evidence that the jury can see, they will jump to conclusions based upon the pieces and the bits and pieces and breadcrumbs of evidence that they are provided by the media. So with that being said, we can't really make an accurate, full assessment of the evidence and say whether or not the jury got it right, because we weren't there and we were not given full access to see exactly what was testified to, what was the demeanor of the victim when she testified, what was the conduct of and the demeanor of the other witnesses involved. So there's so much more to the case that I want us to just try to be objective and not just take a side because of popularity, just because we like a certain actor or he's our favorite actor, he's very talented. I get it. He's a talented person. But everybody who commits a crime should be held accountable no matter their status. And that's what frustrates me about celebrities sometimes, is that a lot of these celebrities get a free pass just because of who they are, or we happen to like them. We have to hold everyone accountable for whatever decisions they make, no matter what their status is, or even if we like the person, or if they're our favorite individual. We have to look at the law and the behaviors objectively and based upon other people's opinions of this man. If you look at if you watch my prior videos that we talked about Mr. Majors, there has been information that has come out about Mr. Majors, and a lot of people who have worked with him in the past allege, again, this is all allegations, that he was not easy to work with, that he was very disrespectful, aggressive, assertive, that he just wasn't a pleasant person to deal with, and other women allege that he was violent towards them. These type of celebrities, though, get away with it. Another concerning assessment that I've seen of Mr. Majors is his ability to gaslight. I really didn't like that he gaslit this young lady, some of the pieces of evidence that was coming out. And let's go over that. Something about he tried to say he was threatening to basically take his life, you guys, if she were to go to the hospital, because apparently she alleged during the testimony that he had caused injury to her before. And a lot of what individuals, and I'm not saying this man is a narcissist, because nobody knows, you have to be medically diagnosed, but some of the characteristics and the things that he said to this young lady leads me to believe that he has some characteristics that are consistent with someone who is a narcissist. Now, I know some people will be irate and disappointed in my opinion because they loved Jonathan Majors. They love that he is a skillful actress. They're probably a big fan of his. But what I have learned as an attorney is I don't care who you are. I don't care if I like you. And I was a big fan of Mr. Majors. I don't care who the person is, what their status is. Either way, what I like to do is look at the evidence objectively, no matter who the person is, no matter what their status is. That to me is irrelevant. I take each individual as a human being and apply whatever evidence is presented and look at that evidence to formulate my own opinions. So if you don't agree with my opinion, that's fine. We all are here. We are opinionators and litigators. So each of us are entitled to our own isolated opinions. All I ask politely is don't come for me. Don't be disrespectful towards me because of my opinion. Just respectfully give your opinion if it's contrary to mine, and we can all enjoy each other's perspectives with dignity and grace. That is my theme of this channel. Always just litigate your case, litigate your opinion, litigate your position with dignity, kindness, and grace. So let's just try to get into this case. So what I first noticed, which I think the jury did a great job of, this jury selection, first and foremost, the prosecution and the defense did a great job on both sides to ensure that they selected a fair and impartial jury. That is the first core essential step that an attorney must take in litigating their case effectively. They must ensure that the individuals that are chosen for that panel are objective and can follow the law. And based upon the outcome of this case, I can analyze and say that I think the defense and the prosecution did a good job because this jury really, really objectively looked at the law. Some of them may even liked Mr. Majors. Who knows? They might have been a personal fan of his, but they didn't allow their opinion of this man to dictate nor control their outcome. They really looked at the law, and the way I can determine that is by the follow-up requests that they had during their deliberations. Number one, They didn't just quickly look at the evidence and come up with a verdict. No, they spent 5 hours deliberating. That really made me see, as an experienced attorney, that this jury was really taking every piece of evidence seriously, and they wanted to make sure that they were following the law to the T, and that they understood the law, and that they understood every piece of evidence before they made their decision, which in my opinion, I feel that this jury was a great jury, that both sides did a great job in selecting this jury. And I honestly have no qualms with their determination. The second thing, when they were requesting for follow-up evidence, they asked for the judge to read the law again. That shows me that they really wanted to understand the law. They wanted to make sure that they understood it so that they could accurately and correctly apply the law to the facts. That is essential for the jury to do. If they are to follow the law, they have to first understand the law. The second indication that led me to believe that this was a really good jury, who, in my opinion, got it right, in my opinion, is that they really asked for relevant pieces of evidence to follow up on. They wanted to look at the videos again. They wanted to replay them in detail and look at different pieces of evidence and read different testimonies that I believe would have led them to make an accurate analysis. So with just looking at the jury portion of this analysis alone, I would say they did a good job. Defense and prosecution did a good job. I feel like for both sides, this is a win-win situation. Because on one side, Mr. Majors did not get convicted of to my opinion, some of the most serious charges, I would say, because one of the charges that he was acquitted of was the specific intent crime, meaning when he assaulted this young lady, he specifically intended to harm her or cause injury to her. Now, that is where the jury found him to be not guilty. I agree with them, in my opinion. I don't think Mr. Majors really intended to even cause physical harm to this young lady. I think he panicked because he got caught in the act. He got caught basically cheating. Basically, there was a girl who text messaged him. In my opinion, y'all, I think it was Miss Megan Good. That is my opinion. I believe, in my opinion, I'm speculating, okay, that text message that was in his phone was from Megan Good talking about how she couldn't wait to kiss his lips. That's what I think. Y'all can let me know in the chat who y'all think was the mystery woman in that text message talking about she couldn't wait to kiss them chocolatey, big, plumpy lips that Mr. Majors has. Okay. So when Mr. Majors got caught in the act, and y'all know every man is very protective over his phone. They will become aggressive if you take their phone. I don't care what, and especially if the man is cheating and doing stuff he ain't got no business doing, they will be aggressive. And he panicked when she snatched his phone and was a little over aggressive because that is his nature, in my opinion. Based upon the text messages that have come out, even his own admission in a previous recording when he said that he may be easily angered, basically. I don't know don't quote me on the exact words, but he admitted to having anger issues. He was something like to the effect of, I may have anger issues, but I'm a good man. If you guys have been following this case, I'm pretty sure you have already watched that or listened to that recording that's on the Shade Room and other places throughout, where Mr. Majors admitted that he has anger issues. So this man, it's in his nature to easily react in an aggressive manner. So take a man like that and you grab his phone. It made him hostile and it made him angry. And he panicked because he was getting caught cheating. He had been talking to Miss Megan Good, in my humble opinion, during this whole time. And he was about to exit this relationship because he was tired of this girl because she was not being a good representation of his image. He was, barking on a journey of becoming a very, very renowned, accomplished, highly esteemed actor. Okay, he really was becoming this highly esteemed actor. And because of this, he was very irate and angry at her because she was not exhibiting the qualities of a woman that he would want to represent him in the public. Now imagine this is a girl that he is dating, okay? And this woman is out in the public being reckless. I guess she was drunk and intoxicated out in the public, and he got mad at her that night because he's telling her, hey, you are supposed to represent me. Okay, you are supposed to be an image of me, and you out here acting like ain't nobody's business. You acting a hot mess. So I really think, in my opinion, some men do this, guys. When they're on their way out of a relationship, what they will do is they will build a relationship, or a quote unquote, they'll call it a friendship, y'all. That's what they try to lie and tell everybody else. It's their little quote unquote situationship with another woman that they plan to take or assume the position of the outgoing woman. So the outgoing woman in this case was this young lady, the ex-girlfriend. He was about to leave her because he had got fed up with her mess. He was getting tired of her, but instead of doing that direct exit, what his intention was just to start dating this other girl that he's seeing on the side, eventually break it off with this ex-girlfriend, and then move on in with the next girl. That was his intention, but he got caught up in the car, y'all. This is all my opinion, y'all. I don't know if this is all, I'm just speculating. So just know that I'm speculating that his intention was to leave this young lady eventually, but he wasn't quite ready to exit yet. He was going to try to find a plan to do it in a way, that was not going to cause too much chaos. So he was on his way out, but he was still kind of just dating her. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of men tell me they do that. They just have women on the side. They ready to move the next girl in, but they aren't quite ready to end it with that the girlfriend that they're currently. Well, that's the position he was in. But unfortunately, when he was in that car, that text message came in. The young lady saw it. She grabbed the phone. He overreacted, grabbing, because that's how men do when you take their phone and they're not up to any good. They will try to get that phone back. And when he, aggressively tried to get his phone back, she got injured in the midst of it. So in my opinion, I think the jury got it right by finding him guilty of the assault charge that related to not specifically intending to cause injury to this young lady. Now, my prediction for sentencing is I don't think he will get jail time. Now that, that might really relate to his sense of remorse, because if he doesn't really demonstrate some type of sense of remorse during sentencing, the judge might give him a very small sentence, a few days in jail with probation, maybe some anger management classes. This is in California, right? So if it's in California, he's going to have to take an anger management class. He might get a little bit of days in jail. Who knows? Or he might get time served for jail and probation, but you're not going to see him serving a year in prison, all that stuff. The media likes to dramatize things, y'all. Okay. They like to dramatize stuff and make it, more than it really is, but the maximum is a year, but that is not what he's going to get. The year is just something that they hang over a person's head if they violate their probation. So let's say he gets placed on probation. They give him maybe a few days in jail because they're like, the judge is like, you know what? He's showing remorse. This is his first offense. He doesn't have a criminal record, which I don't think he does. So they might be a little bit more lenient on him, and depending on the aggravating factors involved. If there are significant aggravating factors, she does have injuries. So, they might give him 1 or 2 few days in jail with probation and an anger management class, maybe even some community service. Who knows? Okay. And probably a fine and some assessments. Now, with that being said, y'all, if he violates that probation during the however long, let's say he gets 3-year probation, y'all. If he violates the probation anytime during the 3 years, then they can just basically give him some of the sentence or some of that year jail time that's left. Whatever the amount of the years left, they can give him some jail time. So they may not give him the whole year. They might say, okay, we're going to give you 30 days in jail because you violated your probation. And basically, whenever he violates, they can decide to give him any piece of that year sentence. Because basically what probation is like, it's like a get out free ticket. It's like, hey, you could be out free on condition you follow the law for 3 years, because if you don't, you have this 1 year of jail hanging over your head, and we can use it and we can decide how much we want you to serve at any time. And if you violate your probation so many times, they might just say, you know what, you're going to serve a year in jail. So that's kind of how it works. But this guy, given that he doesn't have a criminal record, it's going to really go into what his level of remorse is and the aggravating factors involved. And now, because we haven't seen the trial, we only know some of the bits and pieces of evidence that was given to us from the media, but we don't know all the evidence. So we really can't really make a determination as to really what the judge is going to decide. The judge might decide to give this guy a little bit of jail time. They're going to definitely give him an anger management class, which I think he definitely needs, guys. He needs anger management class. This guy has anger issues. There's allegedly, because the girlfriend's not the only person who has come out and alleged that this man has been aggressive to other people, the way he treats people and the way he acts. And I think this anger management class would be beneficial to him in terms of his new relationship with Megan Good, because he may be on his best behavior right now, but Miss Megan Good is going to start to see his little mask come off his face, because if he is a narcissist, which I don't know if he is, I'm just saying some of the things that he was doing to this young lady and saying to this young lady led me to think that he had some narcissistic tendencies. I'm just saying, because I studied that very deep in detail, and some of the things he was saying to her, such as threatening to take his own life if she went to the hospital after the fact that he allegedly caused injury to this girl. Who does that? So you don't care this girl could have a head concussion. All you care about is your reputation after you didn't cause it, allegedly. Boy, bye. That sounds like manipulation. And a lot of narcissists will utilize these type of tactics. They don't care about the interests of their victims. All they care about is themselves. And I'm just keeping it real. Okay. So, and this is going to be a very blunt, live, guys. So I know people may disagree with me because they love Jonathan Majors, and I respect your opinions. Like I said, let's do this respectfully, guys, but I'm going to look at it objectively. Even though I love Mr. Majors as an actor, I'm going to take my fan-like mentality out of the equation, and I'm going to look at the little pieces of evidence we have available objectively. Okay, now let's take a look at some of this evidence, y'all, and analyze it, and then we're going to get into some of the stuff that happens. Since he has been convicted, you guys, he has already been fired from Marvel after the conviction. It looks like Disney has fired him. This man is already getting all these repercussions. You guys already know he lost other benefits too. So this is kind of sad in a way. It's actually very sad because he was on his way, guys, to becoming a legendary actor. I mean, he had a long-term contract with Marvel, guys. That was setting this man up for, significant stardom. And he ruined it all because of a night of who knows what, okay? Who knows what? He needs anger management. And sometimes when individuals are repeatedly getting away with their conduct, their hostile, aggressive conduct, it will eventually get them caught up, which would happen to this young man. Is he a bad man? No, but I think he has anger issues. That's what my opinion tells me. Based on some of the comments from people who know him, and based upon some of the actions that he's done towards this young lady, I feel he has anger issues. Now, is this girl innocent? No. Okay, she has a drinking problem. She needs to get her drinking under control, allegedly. She did some reckless stuff in this situation that didn't make any sense to me. So the girl has issues too. She needs to get therapy. She needs to go to AA classes to get some control over her drinking. And she also needs to do some self-evaluation of herself to really look at why was she willing to put up with this abuse and manipulation, all for the sake of some man's financial status, because it looks like she really was throwing everything on the line for this man because of his fame, his financial status, and all of the perks that she achieved or received by being affiliated with this man. So let's look at some of the pieces of evidence that we have before we get into the verdict. Now, the first piece of evidence that I looked at was this from Neighborhood Talk. Now, when he spoke to this young lady, I believe, and here's my theory. My theory is she recorded him speaking to her. And the reason why I believe she was the one that recorded him speaking to her was because her voice was closer to the audio. When you listen to the recording, her voice was very close to the audio versus his voice. So that told me that she recorded him. Okay. And Why did she do that? This is the problem with a lot of celebrities dating individuals like these people who are not celebrities. They always have some type of ulterior motive. They're never really fully loyal to the individuals that have this fame status. They will always be secretly recording things that you're doing that they can use for their own gain in the future. So I humbly believe, in my own opinion, that this young lady had been recording him when he gets aggressive, because he had been aggressive with her allegedly previously. And so she wanted to get this on record just in case. And so that's what my theory is, because a lot of people were saying that, you know, they didn't know who did the recording. I don't think Mr. Majors recorded himself. I think it was her. And the reason why I think it was her is because she wanted to gather any pieces of evidence just in case she needed it in the future. So in my opinion, you know, she wasn't really a loyal person. She already was looking out to get this guy caught up. But at the same time, this guy had been abusive to her. So maybe she wanted to have this piece of evidence just in case in the past, you know, just in case in the future, if this man ended up harming her in any way. So this basically in the recording, he was basically alleging that he told this white ex-girlfriend that she needed to be like Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama, and make sacrifices for him because he's a great man. And he sounded pretty irate in the recording. He sounded pretty mad. Let's read this. It says, basically, neighbors get into this. Yesterday marked the first official day of Jonathan Majors' domestic violence trial. And it's safe to say that it started off with some wild accusations. During the prosecution opening statement, they claimed that Jonathan told his white girlfriend to be the Coretta to his Martin and the Michelle to his Barack. In court, Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Michael Perez stated that Gracie Jabari, the woman accusing Jonathan of abuse, was subjected to toxic treatment from Jonathan throughout the 2-year relationship. Perez says Jonathan was emotionally manipulative, which we already seen that happen, guys, and would often do things towards Grace that would make her react negatively. Perez said Jonathan would try to dictate where Grace would go, who she would hang out with. He even claimed that Jonathan wanted Grace to sacrifice parts of her life to emulate the dynamics of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King and Barack and Michelle Obama. He told Grace Jabari that she needs to live up to the standards of Coretta King and Michelle Obama to make sacrifices for him because he told her, I am a great man. Now, this I am a great man thing, yeah, he's skilled, he's accomplished, but a lot of these narcissists, they have this overzealous superiority about their self-image that they think they're above everyone else. And that's kind of the mentality I think he has. A lot of these celebrities have this mentality. They're so used to all the fame and the attention and the worshiping that they get from all the world that a lot of them are secret narcissists. They are, and it kind of becomes this destructive conduct in how they treat people. Now, just him saying this, I am a great man. Now, we know that you are talented, Mr. Majors, but I feel like he has a different superiority about his mindset that he felt when he said this. He told her that she needed to comport herself in a way that he needed her to be. Now, when he said this, he was pretty angry. And the reason why he was angry at her is because she came home late that night, drunk, acting a hot mess. And he was basically saying, you need to represent me in a classy way. And he had these type of comparisons. I don't believe necessarily to say she needs to act like a Black woman. I think just him as a Black man, these are people that he looks up to. I mean, think about it. If you're in a certain culture, you will look up to certain people that are in your ethnic group who you think to have wonderful representations. It's not that he's trying to tell her to be a Black woman. He's just a Black man who has, he has people he looks up to in the Black community. So I don't feel that this was in any way a racially charged perception that he was saying to her. I just don't like how the prosecution portrayed it that way because it was a misrepresentation of Mr. Majors' intentions. Now, Mr. Majors, like a lot of the Black men who are accomplished, who perceive themselves as high value men, they love to date women who are racially ambiguous or Caucasian because they think it represents a sense of accomplishment, superiority, and that basically, quote unquote, they have made it in society. But what they don't realize is that with these choices, although they can choose whoever they want to date, they have to realize some of the consequences associated with that. like in this situation here, you can't compare a white woman to Black leaders, even though he didn't intend it to be a racially prejudicial comment or anything, or offensive comment. In the public's eye, they will misperceive it that way. So if individuals like this are going to date out of their ethnic group, they have to understand some of the societal consequences associated with that. And they have to be really willing to assume the risk of that if they get involved. And they can't cry later on if they're in situations like Mr. Majors, because it's like, Mr. Majors, you chose this person as your spouse and you have to reap the consequences of that. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way life is. Okay. There are certain consequences to certain choices. Perez says that this behavior is a direct pipeline to what happened to the night Jonathan allegedly abused Grace. Of course, Jonathan's lawyer pushed back and maintained his innocence, but we will have to see how the trial plays out. Now, that was before. This was kind of the piece of evidence. And like I said on the recording, the young lady is crying as Mr. Majors is going off on her. Now, I really do believe it was her that recorded it, because she only gave bits and pieces that was favorable to her side of it, making it sound like Mr. Majors is yelling at her and she's crying like this little frail puppy. But in reality, it's like, girl, if you did allegedly come home late, drunk, any man would be mad at you as his spouse. He'd be like, you're disrespecting him, regardless of whether he is a celebrity or not. So Mr. Majors, in my opinion, had a right to be mad at her. It seems like he was talking to her, objectively. He wasn't really being abusive in that recording that I listened to, but he was a little bit irate and angry, understandably enough. With that piece of evidence, I wouldn't see that to be too offensive. But like I said, the prosecution was able to manipulate the evidence to make it appear that way. That's what frustrates me about sometimes evidence, because evidence can be manipulated in a way to appear a certain way and then make the jury think something that may not be there. So that piece of evidence, I chalk it up, I push it to the side. Irrelevant to me. Let's look at this next piece of evidence. Jonathan Majors apparently admits to physically attacking Gracie Jabari in newly revealed text messages, threatened suicide if she sought medical attention. Now, this to me, I feel this evidence is very prejudicial. I honestly don't understand why the judge let this evidence in, even though the judge let it in for a specific reason and not to prove any prior bad acts, or know what I mean? But I still feel this evidence could have been very prejudicial to Mr. Majors, because if a jury is to see that, even if the judge gave specific instructions to not use the evidence to show that he was more likely to commit this current crime because he committed the violent acts in the past, jurors are human beings. They're human beings, guys, and they're going to look at it like any human being would. And I think this was very prejudicial to Mr. Majors because it showed his prior abuse, allegedly. Now let's look at this, y'all. Text messages between Jonathan Majors and Grace Jabari have come to light, revealing Majors admitting to physical violence against Jabari in an incident dated 6 months prior to the arrest. Messages from September 2022 detailed a fight resulting in injury where Jabari needed medical attention. I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. Look how selfish Mr. Majors is. This woman could have a concussion. She could have a brain injury from whatever he did to her, and he doesn't care. That's typical of a narcissist. All he cares about is protecting his image. Then Mr. Major says, they will ask you questions. It could lead to investigation, even if you do lie. Look at that, even if you do lie. And this is what happens in a lot of domestic violence cases. These men or women prey on the emotional vulnerabilities of the people that are in love with them. So they use the person's emotions and their subjective weakness and vulnerability to their spouse to pressure them and manipulate them to lie, to get them acquitted or to prevent them from being charged for domestic violence. And so he's basically saying, even if you do lie and tell them something else happened, they will suspect something. So all he cared about was himself, you guys. He didn't even care about this girl's health. All he cared about was his own image. That is selfish, and that is typical of a narcissist. And I told you, a lot of these celebrities have the similarities to a narcissist because they are so celebrities are used to getting so much praise, guys. They get literally spoiled, rotten by the public, by the media, by, their staff, by everybody. Everybody puts celebrities on a pedestal. So it does something to the brain. Okay, I see this happen to so many celebrities. So they go around with this sense of superiority above everyone else and the lack of empathy for the welfare of others to maintain their own reputation. And that's what he's doing here. He doesn't even care about this woman having an injury to herself. Now look what she does, because she is basically, when women or men are subject to abuse, and especially if they're dating a narcissist, they experience what's called trauma bond. It's a term called trauma bond. And it's something that the general public who has not experienced or been a victim of abuse would understand, because a lot of people on the outside would say, well, why would she stay with him? Or why would she lie? She's so dumb. She's desperate. Da, da, da. No, she's not. These individuals manipulate the mind of their victims, and they trauma bond with these people. They do a lot of love bombing and all these different manipulations to the individuals, so that even though they may know they should get out, it's like they're literally bound by these individuals. It's sad. So this woman, you can just see that she's a victim of trauma bonding, because look at what she says. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? Look at this. Why would I tell them what really happened? What really happened? Basically, why would I tell them that you abused me when I want to be with you? Basically, I need to lie in order to stay in a relationship with you. That is very sad. And then you have to wonder what this woman's ulterior motive was also. Even if she may be a victim of trauma bonding, I think also this man's fame and status was another reason that led her to want to be with this guy, because a lot of these women don't have much going on for themselves, and they are latching on to the fame and the riches of these celebrities. Okay. The incident occurring prior to Major's arrest in March was initially deemed inadmissible in court. You see that? And the court initially made it inadmissible because it was very prejudicial to Mr. Majors. Because the issue is, when this piece of evidence comes out, the jury will already be looking at this guy left-sided, looking at him to this, like side-eyeing him like, boy, bye, if you did this in the past, you did this now, so you're guilty. And a jury's not supposed to do that, guys. They have to look at the direct evidence in the instant case, in the instant occurrence. So that's why the court initially kept this piece of evidence out, because it was very prejudicial to Mr. Majors. But however, Majors' defense allowed prosecution to share text messages regarding the prior incident with the jury. Now, this is where Mr. Majors messed up. Mr. Majors messed up in choosing the attorney that he had, because his attorney is who threw him under the bus. His attorney betrayed him by allowing these pieces of evidence in. Why would his attorney allow the prosecution to let in this piece of evidence showing that their client had previously been violent toward this woman? Literally, guys, Mr. Majors failed in choosing the right attorney to represent him, because his attorney is what caused him also to be found guilty. Because why would the defense attorney allow the prosecution to let in very harmfully prejudicial evidence? Who does that? A lot of these celebrities be getting hung up because they picked the wrong attorneys, y'all. Who does that, guys? That's terrible. Terrible on the part of the defense. More messages read in court revealed Majors threatened to commit suicide if Jabari sought medical attention. Look at that, guys. Jonathan is threatening to take his life if she goes to take care of her health after he allegedly abused her. This man is lost his mind. He is manipulating her. And notice how he's still alive, because he wasn't going to commit no suicide, y'all. He said that just to manipulate her and prey upon this young lady's emotions. Okay. Look, he says, last night I considered killing myself versus coming home. Boy, bye. You was not going to kill yourself. He just wanted to manipulate her. A lot of narcissists say that. It's very common for them to threaten to take their life, to control the mind of the person, their spouse or whoever the victim is. He said, I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster. Look at this. He's manipulating her. And horrible man, I don't deserve it. But he's basically speaking the truth that he really is a monster and horrible man. But he's trying to manipulate her so she can be like, no, you're not a monster. No, you're a sweet guy. He said, and I should just kill myself. Now, if a narcissist tells you he's going to take his life, and if you're dealing with a narcissist, that is one of the most dangerous times in your life, because if he really is considering taking his life, he or she, then they won't have any issue taking your life too. So if somebody's talking about they're ready to take their life because you did something, get the heck out of Dodge. I don't care what happens. Get out of there. Get out of there. Okay. So in this way, this is what he said. He said, let's go back to what he said. He said, last night I considered unaliving myself versus coming home. I need love too, or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man. Manipulation, y'all. I don't deserve it. Come on now, Jonathan Majors. You know you over here manipulating this girl's mind. That's what all those words here, guys. He really is a monster and a horrible man. He knows that, but he's using that to manipulate her so she could be like, no, you're not. You deserve to live. I won't go to the hospital. He said, and I should just unalive myself. In this way, my existence is miserable. I want to die. Jabari responded, I will not go to the doctor. See, that's exactly what he wanted. He got so afraid that if she was at a hospital, he was going to be exposed for being the abusive monster that he allegedly is. So he didn't care about this woman's health, didn't care about this woman's welfare, because that is consistent with what a narcissist does. This man is a manipulator and abusive. And I really feel worried for Megan Good, because she is in for it. She is in for it. And trauma bond can really, really affect a person. So, I mean, she went from a man who was a man of God to a narcissist, and he is love bombing her right now and giving her all that loving treatment that she's getting. So she doesn't know yet. But once he takes off that mask, y'all, oh my God, Megan Good is going to go through it. And I know a lot of people are throwing her under the bus right now, but y'all need to be praying for that girl, because she's going to be going through it. She's next. She's next. I'm sorry. These people never change their behavior. They just don't, unless they get therapy and help and they really seek the help. He will be getting anger management, so that might help, but who knows? Okay. But she did exactly what he wanted her to do. She said, I will not go to the hospital if you don't feel safe with me doing so. Look at that. Or don't trust me to. I promise you, I would never mention you, but understand your fear. The 34-year-old continued contemplating taking his life after she rejected his affection post the fight. So he has been already abusing this girl. Okay. I'm telling y'all want to talk about how y'all love Mr. Majors. This man is a narcissist, in my opinion, based on that statement that he said and the aggression, and he has very bad anger issues. And I really feel worried about Megan Good, y'all. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to be one of the people that jumps on the bandwagon to clown this girl. I'm really worried for her, because she went from having a man that was a man of God, who protected her, who I don't know how that relationship was in the household, but I guarantee he wasn't abusive. But this guy that she's with now, he's polar opposite of what she went from. So, I mean, maybe Megan Good was desperate. I don't know what she went through when she had that divorce, that she really just wanted love and ended up falling into the arms of Mr. Majors, because he is fine. So she might have saw his fine self and was like, and he was getting all this clout. I mean, he was really on the up and up, and she might have just been like, baby. And he was starting to look at women in his culture now, because as you can see, he was dating this Miss Jabari girl, and she was acting a fool. And he's like, you know what? I need a Black woman by my side. I am an image of Black leadership in the community. I'm portraying all these roles that are pillar to the Black community. And I need a Black woman who's going to be a great example, like a Coretta Scott, like a Michelle Obama. And so he looked at Megan Good, because she is one of those images of that. She was a woman of God. She was married to a man of God before. She really does express her faith. And, even though she dresses provocative, in her private life, she's a woman of God. She carries herself with class, and she's not out here getting drunk, partying. So he was already transitioning out of the relationship with Jabari when he ended up, in this predicament. But God will sometimes humble people to let them know that they need to work on things. And I think God, allowed this information to come out for him to humble himself and work on himself, because he really needs help. This man needs help. Okay. Now, anyways, Jabari did not inform medical authorities about the origin of her injury, saying she forgot how it occurred. She supposedly did this in an effort to protect her ex, Jonathan Majors, and facing charges of assault in the 3rd degree with the intent to cause physical injury. Okay. Assault in the 3rd degree, recklessly causing physical injury, which is what he was convicted of, guys. So he didn't get found guilty of the 3rd degree with intent to cause. That was one of the more serious charges, because that's basically saying he specifically intended to injure her. He was found not guilty on that charge. So that was a good thing. So that means, in a way, the defense attorney, they had a win on their side. The prosecution had a win on their side because they got a conviction for the 3rd degree recklessly causing injury, meaning he didn't intend to cause injury to her, but in the midst of him aggressively applying his hands upon her, she inadvertently got injured. That's what he got convicted of. And then he got convicted of an aggravated harassment, okay, in the 2nd degree, and harassment in the 2nd degree. So he got convicted basically of one of the assaults and one of the harassments, but it was the lesser charges basically. But he's, so it was a win-win. Both sides basically won something, which means, in my opinion, based upon my experience as a prosecutor, what that means is both sides really skillfully litigated their case to the highest degree. And the jury was persuaded by both sides, which is why they split the verdict the way they did. Now, look at this. I want to really share and highlight this comment from Claudia Jordan. She is a celebrity from Cocktail Queens or whatever on Foxhole. But look at what she says here, y'all. Look at what she says here. Wow. Okay, now, with these revelations, run, Megan, run. Damn shame. He has so many Black people fighting for him. I wonder if Meg is finding out about this as we are. Yikes. I feel bad for her, especially if she done fell in love with him. And see, she already did, guys. He already did the love bombing on Megan. And she's already brainwashed right now. So she can't even see the truth. Because you know what narcissists do? This is what narcissists do. What he did was he was having all these sob stories, and he was telling Megan how the ex-girlfriend did this and did that and was abusive to him and just causing all these pains. And so he was really working on Megan's mind before this trial came. All these months from when he started dating her, he'd been working on her mind to tell her all these sob stories to make him out to be a victim in all of this. And that, he is a victim of prejudice because he's a Black man in America and blah, blah, blah. And so Megan has, being the sweet young lady she is, she's already feeling the man because he's fine as all get out. She started to develop a sense of empathy for him. Okay, because he's been manipulating her. So she's so brainwashed by now, it doesn't matter what evidence has come out about this man. She is not going to look or consider any of that stuff, even though the Holy Spirit has probably already told her, girl, this is not the man for you. And she probably has already seen little inklings of some red flags coming out. He may have even flashed on her here and there because he's been stressed about this trial, but she is so in love with him by now. He probably laid it on her good. I'm just keeping it real in that bedroom. I'm just saying. And so she is so brainwashed by now that I think Megan's long gone. I think she's going to stay with this man and be trauma bond by this man. But what I think is a blessing in all this is that he's going to have to go to anger management, and hopefully that will help him with his anger, and this will humble him, and maybe he will change some of his tendencies. But I'm not sure, how long that will last. With that all being said, I don't think Megan Good is going anywhere. She's going to stay by my man and protect him. Now let's listen to this recording, y'all, of him talking to this young lady about the whole Coretta Scott thing and Michelle Obama, and let me know what you think about it.
Know what job I'm on?
Do you know what I'm saying? I do it well.
Yeah.
Do you really know, baby? Do you really?
Yes.
Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? I would like to get to the point where your friends know what job I'm on and go, I think Grace is gonna be out of commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't.
No. You understand that? Because that team, that unit, right, Grace has to be in a certain mindset. To support Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama's wife.
I know, I'm not, I shouldn't have gone out. I'm
No,
sorry.
let me just lay it out for you, right? If I'm just gonna say this, my temper, my shit, my trauma, blah, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man, I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. That's real. I'm not being a dick about it. I didn't ask for it. I've worked, and that's the situation. The woman that supports me, that I support, that needs to be a great woman and make sacrifices the way that man is making for her and for them ultimately. Last night, 2 nights ago, you did not do that. You did not do that.
I'm sorry.
Which took away from the plan. And the plan is everything. If it was just you in the house drunk, maybe I could have swallowed it. Or I would have felt bold enough like, oh, babe, let's just go to bed. Which I said, I'm just going to go to bed. I'm not hungry, blah, blah, blah. Because Grace isn't here. Why? She was drunk. Why else? She was clogged by whatever was going on. You know what I mean? Fine, I can take that.
Yeah.
Do you really though, baby? Do you really?
Yes.
Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan?
So let's dissect this recording. First and foremost, like I said, I think it was she that recorded this. You can just analyze the recording. We'll play it again, but you can analyze the recording and you can just look at and analyze the volume of the voices. You can already tell that his voice is echoing. So he's at a distance from the recording, first and foremost. Secondly, you can hear that her voice is very close to the recording, as if the recording is on her person somewhere. So in my opinion, I believe she's the one recording. Third, and my other analysis is he's very angry. His voice is elevated and he sounds a little bit aggressive. So why would he want to portray himself in that negative light in a recording? If he were the one recording, he would probably have a more calm tone, more professional, respectful tone, because he wouldn't want himself to be portrayed in that light if he were to need to use that recording in the future. So my opinion of this analysis is that he didn't know that he was being recorded. And she, in fact, recorded him without him knowing so that she can use this in the future as a piece of evidence if she needed it, because she had been experiencing, in my opinion, a repeated abuse from this man. And even though she felt in her heart that she should leave the relationship, she didn't want to because of the trauma bonding and because of this man's clout, status, and fame. And so she was sucked in by this man's fame and clout and probably thought, I can't get another man as prestigious as this guy, so I'm going to hold on to him, okay? I'm going to hold on to this man. I don't care how abusive he is. No, y'all don't ask me why she did that. I think it was the trauma bonding that these narcissists do. Another red flag in this recording is the fact that he puts himself on a pedestal as if he's more superior to her. I am a great man, as he says. Now, we all know this guy is a great actor. We get it. But the way that he said it in the recording makes me think that he sees himself as a superior human being above even her, his spouse, which is like a grandiose perception of himself, which to me is consistent with someone who is a narcissist. Now, on one side, someone would argue he had a legitimate reason to be mad at her, that she's coming home late, drunk, okay? He is a celebrity. If people know that he is in a relationship with her and she's out drunk, that can portray him in a negative light, which is why he compared the Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama as to say she needs to be more like them. Because again, him being a black man, he is going to refer to people in the black community who he admires. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The only issue is he's dating a white woman. So when you're dating someone out of your race, you have to be a little bit more conscientious of that and aware of that when you are making comparisons, because if this information were to get out in the public, then this is the issues we come across when you got other people listening to these statements. Now, other people would say this is not a big issue, right? But other, people who are Caucasian, who don't understand the comparisons, might think that this man is crazy. like disrespectful to this white woman, trying to compare her to a black woman. Like, why would you do that in front of a jury? That's going to look bad. And the jury probably already, if there were some white people on that panel, already were not liking this man. Okay. That's why I feel like he kind of should have testified. I don't even know if he testified, and I don't know what the defense attorney's reasoning for not letting him testify, but I feel like they should have allowed him to, considering I don't think he gave any prejudicial statements to law enforcement. And if he had some type of self-control to compose himself when the prosecution may have been a little bit aggressive towards him, that's probably why they didn't let him testify. The defense attorney probably did not allow him to testify because they know that he is very impulsive and he tends to not be able to control his impulse. So he probably would have reacted in an angry manner towards the prosecution, which would have made the jury even more than likely think that this guy is aggressive and more than likely to have been violent towards the victim, which is probably why the defense attorney did not put him on the stand. But if he were to compose himself despite the aggressiveness of the prosecution during cross-examination, he could have gone on the stand and testified why he was using these comparisons, because I feel like it was a necessity given the prosecution tried to portray it in a way that this man was being racist towards this young lady, or, derogatory towards her, to have the audacity to compare this white woman to two black pillars of light in the black community. Okay. Now I want to read this comment because I feel like this comment kind of summarizes what I was saying. But this individual said, comment section is in shambles. Basically, that man was telling his girl to have some discernment, not to act crazy and drunk outside, because she is a representative of him and his fame and could hinder what he was trying to do, as was Coretta of Martin Luther King and Michelle Obama on the behalf of Barack Obama. Basically, these women were women of class and dignity and grace in representing their pillars of leadership, husbands, spouses that had these pillars of leadership and light in the community. Okay. So I like this guy here because he's basically summarizing what I feel. Okay. He says, no more, no less. I imagine he couldn't think of good biracial power couples in that moment. So he went with what he knew, guys, basically. That's what I think. But let me know in the chat what you guys think about this. Let's listen to it one more time, and then we'll move on.
Why else? She was clogged by whatever was going on. You know what I mean? Fine, I can take that.
Yeah.
Do you really though, baby? Do you really?
Yes.
Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? I would like to get to the point where your friends know what job I'm on and go, I think Grace is gonna be out of commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't.
No, you understand that? Because that team, that unit, right? Grace has to be in a certain mindset to support Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama's wife.
I know I'm not. I shouldn't have gone out. I'm
No,
sorry.
let me just lay it out for you, right? If I'm just gonna say this: my temper, my shit, my trauma, blah, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man.
So when he said my temper, my shalala, so he's basically admitting that he has issues. His temper, that's a red flag. When someone has a temper issue, that can lead towards violent tendencies. And he literally admits to this in the recording that he has a temper issue. That's a huge red flag to shed light on this man having a tendency to lead towards violence when he gets angry, and he's admitting it. So listening to this tells me that he has been angry towards this young lady in the past, and she's afraid of him in a way, which is why she frails up like a little mouse and cries when he speaks to her, because she has a fear towards him because he's been violent with her in the past, allegedly. And we already seen the text messages showing that. And he then, after he's abusive to her, There's this cycle of love bombing and then abuse, love bombing and abuse. So then he goes to start acting like, oh, I'm going to take my life if you go to the hospital. Oh, you know, trying to encourage her to lie so he doesn't get caught being this abusive person. And he has gotten away with this from the different women he has dated in the past because of his clout and his fame. And he was trying to continue to get away with it with this young lady. And anybody knows that what is done in the dark will eventually arise to the light. So this man is being found out for what the things he has done in the past. And he's gotten away with so many years because of his clout and his fame. And these choices are what has led to the stagnation in his progression in his career. It's very sad and unfortunate. Now let's move on to the next piece of evidence. You guys already have probably listened to a lot of this stuff before, but I wanted to kind of analyze it before we go into the verdict. Let's see, what else did Neighborhood Talk discuss? I don't know. They had other stuff like his room. This was his closet. He seems to be a very humble man. You know, he only had these little oh my gosh, these shoes, guys. These are the shoes that he owns, being the man of so much fame. But at least he got more money in the bank. He's saving his money, like this person commented. They said, it's all fun and games until you compare bank accounts instead of closets. Let's see what else people say here. They said some funny stuff before in these comments. They said people with money don't flex that they have money and material things. Yeah, one thing I do think about Jonathan Majors, he grew up poor and homeless. And so he knows how to use his money. You know, his money can be gone at any moment. So he is not out here being reckless with his money. He's out here using his money very wisely. So one thing I can admire is that he's not out here just being reckless with his spending. So that was one of the pieces of evidence. They had a photo of his room. Now, Jonathan Majors, see, poor Megan Good, y'all. This girl is already hooked into the drama bonding. Dang, Megan, he got you. Dang, girl. I know he's fine. I get it. I get it, girl. I know that he is fine, Megan. But, girl, you are in for it. Oh, this girl gonna have to be in therapy and all kind of stuff. But you know what I noticed about Megan Good? She loves these type of men, though. She was with 50 Cent. She liked to be with the toxic dudes. She's been so attracted to the bad boys. That's been her kind of cup of tea until she met her husband and kind of decided to get a good boy. And guys, that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for her. She was like, no, this is not it. I like the bad boys. So she's going back to what she is used to. So she likes these type of men that are in trouble. She likes the bad boys. A lot of women do. I don't understand it. Why, guys? I don't get it. So this is her choice. But anyways, Jonathan Majors and Megan Good crying during trial as defense argues actor is innocent and being racially profiled. Now she's crying, guys. The reason why she's crying is because he has already brainwashed her. He has been working on her emotions. What he has been doing behind the scenes is telling her all these stories about how he's a victim of society and how everybody's racially profiling him. You know, the world's against him. This white woman is against him. America is against him as a black man, and he is suffering and he's being labeled because he's a black man. Look what's going on with R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and everybody who's black. We can never rise above it. You know what we're going through. This is what he's been doing behind closed scenes, guys. This is examples of the things he's saying to Megan Good. So he has already brainwashed her into having a sob story for this man. That's why you can see in court, she's already crying, because people was wondering, well, why is she crying? Like, girl, bye, why are you crying? That's why she's crying, guys, because he has already brainwashed her. He has already manipulated this girl into feeling a sense of empathy for him because he has been giving her all these sob stories, portraying himself as the victim. This is very consistent with someone who has narcissistic tendencies. And he looks like the type of dude to do that. And it's consistent with some of the evidence that was presented in trial. For example, him telling Ms. Jabari that he was going to take his own life. He has a tendency to prey upon the emotions of the women he's involved in to make them feel sympathy for him. And that is, you can see that's happening to Megan Good. She's already she's already experiencing trauma bonding already, and it's evident by her crying in trial, because most of us on the outside would be like, why is she crying? Like, girl, bye. I know that's your man, but it's not that deep. This is it's not like he going to jail for murder or something. Okay, girl, bye. But the reason why she's crying, like I said, is because you don't know what he's telling her and what he has been telling her for the last several months to get her to feel this sense of empathy, because he has portrayed himself as the victim of society. Okay. And that everybody is trying to take away his fame because he is a Black man in America. And y'all, I get it that is an issue in America, but it's not always an issue. Sometimes we have to take accountability for the choices that we make that can cause more issues to us. We can't just say just because this man's a Black man dating a white woman, that's why he's on trial. No, he made certain decisions in this case as well that led to him being in the position that he is in. He admitted in a recording that he has a temper. He has text messages manipulating this girl into not going to a hospital to check if she had a head concussion, and then had the audacity to threaten to take his life if she did. So we can't just look at the fact that he's a Black man. He made certain choices on his own that led him to this predicament. And now Miss Megan Good is experiencing a manipulation herself. She's being manipulated herself. So as sad as it is, he got his new supply here. She is the new supply. Okay? With this narcissist. I really think this man's a narcissist. That's just my opinion. Now, I can't diagnose somebody. I am not a doctor. I'm only a doctor as it relates to the law, but I'm not a medical doctor. But what I can say is, based on the stuff I've seen, this man is a narcissist. I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, it appears Jonathan Majors and Megan Good were overcome in his misdemeanor assault trial this Thursday, when the pair began shedding tears as his defense spoke. Per People magazine, tears were seen rolling down the actor's face as his defense lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, moved the jury. "Why are you here?" she asked. "You are here to end this nightmare for Jonathan Majors," she argued throughout the trial, that Majors was experiencing a fate of many Black men who've been involved with white women. Now, boy, bye, you chose to be with this white woman. Now, you know that you have been an actor in all these different movies that, uplifted the Black community, and yet you decided to be with this white woman, which you have every right to do. But if you make that unilateral decision, you have to understand there are certain consequences associated with that, which you have to be able to take accountability for, sir. You cannot blame society for your choices. That is what narcissists do. They want to blame everybody else for the decisions that they made. Now, nobody had an issue with you being with your white young lady. That's fine. But you can't go cry later on and say, "Oh, I'm a victim of society because I'm with this white woman." No, you cannot do that. You have to look at the choice you made, honey. You chose that, and you chose to be aggressive with this young lady. And now you have to reap the consequences of that choice, regardless if she's white, Black, Mexican, Hispanic. I don't care. Okay. They took a look at Mr. Majors and made up their minds, Chaudhry said, regarding the officers. They decided who was the victim and who was the criminal. And then they asked Grace if Mr. Majors had done this to her. Now, I disagree respectfully with the defense attorney. She is using an emotionally charged closing argument to prey upon the emotions of the jury, which somewhat worked because the jury did split the verdict. But I respectfully disagree with her, because the officers look at also who has injuries. And allegedly, this woman had injuries. So that is what led to them arresting him, because he didn't have any injuries on him. Allegedly, she had injuries on her, which is why they ended up arresting him. So they need to also look at that piece of evidence too. Megan Good, the actor's girlfriend, who was seen wiping away her tears as Major's mother consoled her. Oh my Lord, the mother's in on it too. You can't blame the mom. They're going to always protect their kids no matter what. Girl, your son has anger issues. You need to talk to that boy, okay? Anyway, Good and his mother have been present for every day of his trial. If you can recall, the Marvel actor faces charges of assault in the 3rd degree with the intent to cause physical injury, assault in the 3rd degree, reckless causing physical injury, aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree, and harassment in the 2nd degree stemming from an alleged fight between him and girlfriend Grace Jabari in New York City in March. Okay. Now, that was another piece of evidence just showing the trauma bonding and the victim's mentality that Mr. Majors has been working on and manipulating his girlfriend. I feel sad for Megan, but in a way I really don't, because she really is attracted to the bad boy image persona. That's the kind of men that she is drawn to. So I don't really feel too bad for her. Now let's go and see if there's any other information on this case before we get into the verdict. And you guys can let me know what you guys think about the verdict. But I honestly, in my opinion, I think the jury got it right. Now, don't get annoyed with me scrolling, guys. I'm trying to see if there's any more evidence that, oh, here it is. Jonathan Majors. Okay, look, they said here, Jonathan Majors and Megan Good's relationship is reportedly stronger amid his domestic trial. Of course. She's already she is in love with this guy, y'all. I think she was the one that was on that text message, y'all. I really do. I really do. I'm just keeping it real. Okay. Neighbors, get into this. Megan and Jonathan Majors' relationship is reportedly better than ever amid his trial for domestic violence. Now, y'all know women are going to stand by their man. Okay. And she loves bad boys, so she's going to be supporting her man no matter what y'all say. Okay. According to the TMZ, people close to the couple say, though the trial has taken a toll on Jonathan mentally, Megan is holding him down both in court and behind the scenes. Now, man, she is in for it. Oh my God. Now that he's been found guilty, he's going to be taking it out on her. I don't know if the honeymoon phase is over between them, but if it is, oh Lord. Oh Lord. But he's going to be on his best behavior, guys, because he's been convicted now. So he's not going to do anything, too bad. But she might notice some attitudes after this conviction. He may not be as friendly as he normally is. I'm just saying. As y'all know, Jonathan Majors is facing domestic violence charges for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend throughout the trial. Multiple private conversations have been exposed. It's reportedly been very uncomfortable for Megan to sit through because that's not the person she grew to love. Ooh, did y'all see that? That's not the person she grew to love. Key words there. Key words there. When a narcissist is love bombing someone, they put on a mask and they will be somebody who is Prince Charming. You will think that he is the man of or woman of your dreams. They will be an image of mere perfection and hide all their skeletons away. So she has been jaded by seeing this man of perfection who has been spoiling her and love bombing her and just putting her on this pedestal. And she is the queen of his universe and all these things. And now she's in trial seeing that mask being dismantled. The mask is coming out and now she's like, wait, hold up. Now she's already hooked. So it's too late by now, but now she's starting to see the skeletons of this man come out in the trial that he did not tell her, because he's been lying to her the whole time, telling her how he has been a victim of this woman and she has been doing this, she's been doing that. Now, is she innocent? No, Jabari's out here getting drunk, acting a hot mess too. So she has issues too. She needs to get control of her drinking, and she needs some counseling, and she needs to go to rehab or something. But with that being said, he shouldn't be putting his hands on her either. Miss Megan Good over here has been in the perfection honeymoon stage, and this man has been love bombing the heck out of her. So she did not know all this stuff that she's hearing in trial. So she's like, hold up, this is not the person that I was groomed to love, because the guy that I've been dating has been treating me like a queen. What is this? So now she's in a situation where she has her conscience telling her, girl, this man ain't it, you need to get out of this. But her heart is what's dictating her mind. So no matter what is coming out, it's causing confusion in her mind, but her heart is overpowering what she knows she really needs to do, which to me is the definition of trauma bond. because deep down in her gut, she knows this man is not it, and he is got some toxic ways that she needs to get out of that. But she's not going to do it because her heart is overpowering and dictating what her mind is telling her to do. Okay. The source claims Megan believes Grace was emotionally manipulative towards Jonathan. And why does she believe that, guys? She believes that because Jonathan has been telling her this for several months. That's what narcissists do. They go and blame people and make it look like they're the problem when we can clearly see in the text messages he has been manipulating Jabari. Now, is Jabari innocent? No, two tangles. She has her issues. I'm not saying she is innocent in the relationship. I'm just saying he's deflecting. What he's doing is projecting his issues onto Jabari, saying Jabari's manipulative, when he has already demonstrated that in the text messages that he has a manipulative tendency. But see, Megan has been hearing a clouded story from Jonathan. Jonathan's over here telling her that this woman has been manipulating him and all this stuff. And so she is brainwashed by now that she doesn't believe anything the prosecution is saying. Because she's like, hold up, that's not what I heard from Jonathan. My man told me this. Like, why is the prosecution saying that? This is not the man I grew to love. Hold up. What is this stuff? Okay, that's what Megan's in the courtroom trying to figure out what is going on. Okay. And so she's still standing by her man because she is already mentally manipulated, right? So her and the prosecution are just BSing him. See, I told y'all, I didn't even read this part. Told you guys, she is thinking that the prosecution is BSing and the victim is BSing and her man is the victim because he has already brainwashed Megan Good. This girl is long gone. He has Megan Good right where he wants her. He has been working on her mind for the last few months, brainwashing her. So no matter what has come out in trial, Megan Good is not going to listen to it, even though the Lord could be literally warning her through this trial, but she is so far gone mentally that she is subjected to this man's powers, basically his manipulation. Okay. She is not letting the negativity stop her love. Look at this, guys. This is a woman who is brainwashed. I'm sorry. And neither is he. They're reportedly stronger than ever now because they have had to lean on each other to make it through. The couple has also reportedly leaned on their faith in God to guide them through the trial. Now he's over here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me in the chat. But guys, I do not believe Mr. Majors is a true man of God. I'm sorry. I think he uses the God thing to manipulate Megan because he knows Megan is a woman of faith. And so he has portrayed himself as this man of faith and he loves God and because he was manipulating her through God. And that's what narcissists do. They will be a mirror image of you and your values. He knows that God is a high value in Megan's life. So he used the whole faith thing to get to Megan. I don't really think this man for anything is really a man of God. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. It's just my humble opinion based on the stuff I've been reading and looking at and some of the people who have said how aggressive he has been to many people in the past. I don't see that consistent with someone who is a man of faith. It's just my humble opinion, guys. I may be wrong. So don't get mad at me. You can let me know in the chat what you think, but that's just my opinion. That I really think he's using the religion thing to manipulate Megan because he knows that's a deep, cherished value of her. And when he was pursuing her behind the scenes, working on her, he had to mirror some of the values that she had so that he can lure her into his trap of trauma bonding. And she's already been long gone. This girl's mentally gone. So there's nothing anybody can say to this girl at this point, but to pray for Megan at this point, because she's gone. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't care how many times y'all write this girl in her inbox. None of y'all, she gonna think of each and every one of y'all as a hater, as BSing and blah, 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 because she is already brainwashed. Megan Good she's trauma bound by Mr. Majors by now. So I don't know when this girl will see the light. Now, despite this rough patch, Megan is sticking beside Jonathan and will continue to, despite the verdict. Let me know what y'all think about that. Okay. Now let's deal with some other stuff with the Jonathan Majors. Okay, Jonathan Majors. Okay, so now we've got the verdict here. Mr. Jonathan Majors has been found guilty on the 2 domestic assault charges. Okay. Now, there was a video surveillance that I want to analyze in the evidence, but let's look at this verdict real quick. The jury convicts actor Jonathan Majors of 2 domestic charges. They basically split the verdict. And what I told you guys, that means that I told you the defense and the prosecution very skillfully litigated their cases on both sides. And usually when I see that in cases, a lot of times the jury really studies the evidence. And most of the time they split the verdict, which is what they did in this case. So he was found guilty of the 3rd degree and guilty of harassment. He was found not guilty of one of the counts in assault in the 3rd degree. That was the specific intent crime, and not guilty of the aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. So he basically, like I said, he was found guilty of 2 of the lesser charges. So in a way, it was a win-win for both sides because he didn't get the more serious charge convictions. He got the lesser charges, but they're still going to have consequences to his career and his criminal record. So he was convicted of 2 of the 4 charges, and his sentencing will be held February 6th, y'all. And don't think he's going to get a year in prison. Please do not be deceived by the media. That's the maximum he can get, but more than likely, because he has no criminal record, he might get a little bit of jail time, probation, and some anger management. They might even give him some community service. It's just going to depend on the aggravating factors. Now, somebody said here, Black women stay out of this and mind our Black-owned businesses. That's what she had to say. Okay, let's see what this person said. Okay, Jonathan Majors was found guilty, assault in the 3rd degree with the intent to cause physical injury, not guilty. Again, this charge right here, guys, is one of the most serious charges. So he won in a way because he was not charged. He was not found guilty of the specific intent charge. This charge right here with intent to cause injury means, like I said before, I'm sorry to repeat myself because some people are new coming into the chat. This one means that when he assaulted her, he specifically intended to cause physical injury to her. The jury got that right, in my opinion, because I don't think Mr. Majors intended to physically injure her. I think he panicked when she got his phone and that text message came up talking about she can't wait to kiss. Yeah, I think Megan Good was talking about she can't wait to kiss them chocolatey, plumpy lips. She was like, I'm not going to lie, them lips look good, y'all. Y'all know his lips look good. Oh, anyways, back to the evidence here. So this one, Mr. Majors won because he got found not guilty. So that is a good thing for, that means his attorneys really did a good job to get him acquitted of this one, because this one right here was one of the most serious ones. Okay. But he did get found guilty of the lesser one, which is the assault in the 3rd degree, reckless causing physical injury. That means he was so reckless when he was applying the force to this woman that he unintentionally happened to cause injury when he was being aggressive towards her. So that one, if a defendant was being charged with both of these charges, they'd rather be found guilty of this one versus this charge. So in a way, Mr. Majors won, but in a way, he wanted to be acquitted of all of it, but no, I would think if you want to pick one of these, this one's a better conviction. But you know, Mr. Majors wanted to be found not guilty on all of it. Aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree, not guilty. Now, aggravated, again, this is one of the more serious charges because aggravated means it's more of a higher elevated charge with more aggravating sentences. He got found not guilty. So that's good. He got found not guilty of 2 of the stronger charges that the prosecution charged. So like I said, this was a win-win for him because his defense attorney got him off on the more serious charges. So that's good for Mr. Majors. But he still got convicted in the harassment in the 2nd degree, which was one of the lesser charges of the 4. So so in summary, he got convicted of the lesser charges and got acquitted of the more serious aggravating charges. So again, this was a win-win for the defense and the prosecution in this outcome, which means that they both skillfully litigated their case to the point where the jury really had to split the verdict. I feel like the jury got it right. But again, we can't really make that an analysis because none of us saw the trial. Okay. So that's more of a clearer breakdown of the verdict here. So you guys can see that. It was more of a win-win for both sides. Now, but look at the consequences. As soon as this man got found guilty, he is losing it all. Now, he already was losing all the different opportunities that he had when he was first charged. But look what happened immediately after he was convicted. He was fired by Disney. He was fired by Marvel Studios after the assault guilty verdict, y'all. That's huge. He lost his Marvel Studios contract, guys. This is devastating to his career. He was on the verge, guys, of being one of the biggest African-American celebrities, you guys, because Marvel, once you make a contract with Marvel, a long-term contract, man, you have made it. You have made it once you have a contract. But now he lost that, guys, and Disney. The actor played Kang the Conqueror. It should teach people to have more self-control, and it teaches society to stop putting these celebrities on pedestal. They're human beings. It doesn't matter what kind of clout they have. I don't care if they're talented and gifted. They are human beings like you and I. And when they make certain choices, they have to be held accountable, guys. But neighbors, Disney wasted no time giving Jonathan Majors the boot. Following his guilty verdict today, a studio rep confirmed the news about the decision not to come forward with Majors in the Marvel cinematic universe. Majors played supervillain Kang. It's unclear if Marvel plans to keep the character who Majors debuted as during Loki season 1 in 2021. Majors was shaping up to have a good 2023 before his assault case. According to the deadline, prior to Ant-Man 3 and Creed 3, Majors won rave reviews for the Sundance drama magazine Dreams, in which he played a disturbed amateur bodybuilder. The movie was snapped up Searchlight for December 8th, theatrical release, and award season run. However, was pulled from the theatrical schedule by the Disney-owned label in October. As we reported earlier, Majors was found guilty of assault in the 3rd degree and guilty of harassment. He was found not guilty of the more serious charges, guys, the aggravated assault one with the intent to cause physical injury and the aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. So he will be sentenced February 6th. Basically, his career is over. His career is over, guys, all because of his narcissism and his inability to control his anger. These celebrities have this sense of superiority, and it caught up with him. It always does, guys. It always does. Okay. And this woman took him down. And you know what? This was a woman scorned. Because if you guys remember that when I did part 1 and part 2, the woman was actually trying to protect him at first when she thought that they were going to be back together. She said she wasn't going to proceed with the charges. She was begging and pleading for him to, to talk to her, and that she was going to tell the prosecution to not go forward with the charges. And when he came out with Megan Good, guys, and when he left her, when he decided to leave her and got in a relationship with Megan Good, Jabari became a woman scorned. These men and women have to be careful of the woman scorned or man scorned when you're a celebrity. You got to be careful who you get involved with and careful of the woman and man scorned. Because once he left her and got with Megan Good, the woman Jabari started to see that he was cheating on her and having an affair on her with Megan Good. And that developed an anger in Jabari. And she became determined to take this man down. And so when she went to this trial, that was her mission. Because you basically, in her mind, you destroyed me. You cheated on me. You left me for Megan Good. And now I'm going to destroy you. Because when we did part 1 and part 2, this woman had a whole different demeanor a few months ago. A few months ago, she was over here talking about, oh, I'm not gonna tell on you. I promise I'll tell them I don't want to prosecute, and this is all a lie. And now all of a sudden, now you see she had a whole different demeanor at this trial, y'all. At the trial, her attitude was different, which made me see this was a woman scorned. When he decided to now leave her, and what he was doing in the dark with Miss Megan Good came to the light, basically. And, he had the woman that he had been texting in that car, in my humble opinion, was Miss Megan Good. When that came to the light, guys, that woman, Jabari, became a woman scorned. And she was determined to destroy him. So these celebrities out here, y'all, they got to be careful with how they treat people, number one. And not only how they treat people, but you have to understand when you leave a woman after cheating on her, she is going to do everything in her power to take you down. And that is what she did. Okay. So let's look at some more stuff here, guys. I know I'm talking a lot, but this is the actual screenshots of the text messages that they had going on before. This was the messages that the young lady provided. And it's basically said, it's just fake. And I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. This is Jonathan Major speaking. They will ask you questions. And as I don't think you actually protect us. This is manipulation when he says actually protect us, because he doesn't care whether she's protected or not. He cares about himself. So this part is manipulation. It could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie. See, look, he's encouraging her to lie and they suspect something. See that? And then here's Jabari. I will tell them I bumped my head. That's a classic excuse that most DV victims use. I bumped my head, or I hit my arm somewhere on a counter when I was cleaning or whatever. If I go, she said, I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep. I need some stronger painkillers. See, she's in pain, suffering, and she's willing to risk her health for this man. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? You see that? So that's what the DV victims do. They will lie to protect their abuser. He says, I feel like you want to be together as to not embarrass yourself for everything you said to your friends and family. Last night, I considered unaliving myself versus coming home. You said you needed love last night, but I put my feelings aside and tried to give you that. I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man that I don't deserve it and should just unalive myself. This way of existence is miserable. I want to see, he's manipulating her. I want to die. Come on, Jonathan Majors. You don't want to die. Because you would have been dead months ago. Boy, bye. You was manipulating this girl and didn't care how she felt. And so she's like, I will not go to the doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so or don't trust me to. I promise I would never mention you, but I understand your fear. He said, I reject love if there's no real love. It's just lip service. I gave you love last night and this morning before I got out of bed. When you got up, you were not full of love at all. I just didn't feel it at all. You could have just given me a hug or walked close to me or asked me if you could give me a hug, not the other way around. It works both ways. I will probably meal myself. It's not really contemplating anymore. So here he's projecting and just saying, oh, he doesn't get love and he's giving her all the love. And he says, you can't reject love if there is no real love. It's just lip service. Oh, wait, he says, I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I am killing myself soon. I already put things in motion. See, he's saying all this because basically probably what happened the night before is he became violent towards her because she wasn't doing what he wanted her to do, allegedly. So she was injured and she was about to go to the hospital. So what he ended up, now he's trying to use this, oh, I'm a bad guy, I'm a monster, to manipulate her. And she said, Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to call someone. I'm sorry for not hugging you this morning. I really am. I was sleepy and disoriented by the fact that you thought I would break your necklace. I love you so much, obviously. What do you mean you put this in motion? So he's manipulating her. You could tell she's fallen for the manipulation. This is crazy. I can see how he's manipulating this girl. You have a family, Jonathan, a mother and a daughter. What would Ella do without you? Don't do this to her. Don't even think of these thoughts. See, he's not really going to take his life, y'all. He just did that to manipulate her. Okay. It's just sad. It really is. And then Major says, be doing right now, period. This is actually period. Do you understand that? Jabari says, yeah. Do you really love me? Do you really? Jabari says, yes. So he's very insecure too, because a lot of narcissists are. And they become very controlling. It seems like he was very controlling with this girl throughout the relationship. But she was so trauma bound by this guy. then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when you have a plan? We have a plan. And that's the whole thing we went over before. Look, these are the injuries that she had. This is her finger on the night of the incident, which is consistent with her trying to pry his phone and him grabbing the phone, and that's how her finger got injured. So you can see kind of the redness here of the inflation of the hand. Here's another close-up of her finger, consistent with her fighting with him over the phone. Look at her ear, though. Damn. What was he doing to the girl's ear? Girl, bye. Girl, look what he did to the girl's ear. In a way, I'm happy he left her because she ain't got to be abused anymore. This woman went through it. Because some of these victims, they would have stayed with their abuser. She would have still stayed with him, but for him deciding to basically discard her. That's what narcissists do. He discarded her for his new supply, Megan Good, because Megan Good in his eyes is a better supply than this basic woman who doesn't have much clout to her name. Then I call her basic. I don't believe she's basic, but that's the perception of Mr. Majors, in my humble opinion. And that's kind of how narcissists think. They always try to find the best supply they can get. And Miss Megan has more clout than Miss Jabari. So that's why he was quick to discard her once he found a better supply. And that's just my humble opinion, guys. Don't get mad at me. I'm just giving an opinion. You don't have to agree. Okay, I'm trying to see if I can find. I want to find, trying to keep her. Let's see. Cry testimony. Okay, look. So Zuckerman cited the testimonies from Jabari and Naveed, the driver of the car in which the alleged incident occurred. Guys, the driver of the car also testified. Wow. The lawyer argued that the testimonies did not show Majors had the legal requisite intent to harass, annoy, threaten, or alarm Jabari. In Jabari's testimony last week, she said that Majors was trying to keep her out of his way and trying to make me stay in the car during the alleged assault. On Monday, Sawar testified that Majors opened the car door trying to get rid of Jabari. Majors said, "Leave me alone. I want to go. I have to go," and was not doing anything. Jabari was doing everything. Zuckerman cited these parts of Jabari and Sawar's testimony in a motion to dismiss. Prosecutors Michael Perez and Kelly Galloway objected to the defense's motion, saying there is enough evidence via testimony, videos, and photos to prove Major's alleged assault. Perez argued that the traffic cam and security footage shows Major repeatedly pushing Jabari back into the vehicle with all of his force. That there is intention on its face. The force was using speaks for his actions, Perez said. Judge ruled there is sufficient and competent evidence and that it's clear that Majors and Jabari were involved in a physical altercation where Jabari has indicated she suffered substantial pain. Now, people had issues with her because she went out partying with some people she didn't know, but you guys have to really understand the mindset of an abused victim. This girl already has a drinking issue, and it seems the way she processes her trauma is trying to drink and party her trauma away. So I think she used the partying as a way to distract from the situation that she went through, to kind of, distract her from the heartbreak. She just knows that this guy is cheating on her. She found the text message and he was violent towards her, and now he's running away from her in the video surveillance. So she's feeling a form of severe heartbreak. So some people, the way they handle their emotions is they do irrational things like go out and party. And that's what I think she was trying to do. But anybody who is a layman would just think that this girl's crazy and not really feeling, pain or anything from the situation. But you have to look at the mindset of a victim and how they process trauma. Okay. So let's see. I'm trying to say, I was really trying to find the language related to the text message, but essentially the text message said the woman couldn't wait to kiss his lips or whatever. And in my opinion, I think that was Megan Good because she was trying to kiss them chocolate lips. All right, let's look at the video surveillance that they have been talking about, guys. This is from TMZ. This is the video surveillance of, I guess, the taxi cab car that Jonathan Majors was in with the girl, Jabari, the ex-girlfriend, when she saw that text message on his phone. So guys, I know it's really dark there, but in that part right here, this is the part where Jonathan Majors is standing outside of the vehicle. This is Mr. Majors right here. And Jabari's in the car and he's physically trying to shove her back into the car. This is after the incident where they were tussling over this cell phone. Because she was trying to get the phone to see who he was texting. And that's when the commotion happened in the car. So when he was stepping out the car, he's trying to keep her in the car to keep her away from him after after he got his phone back. So that is what's going on here. So after the incident, he was unsuccessful in getting her back in the car. So he's trying to get away from her to prevent her from getting the phone back. And she's still chasing after him to try to get the phone. That's what she's doing. Even though he was violent with her, injured her finger, injured her ear, because they've been fighting over this phone in the car, he's trying to get away from her to prevent her from seeing the phone still. And she is still pursuing him so that she can get that phone, in my opinion. That's why she's chasing after him. That's why he's trying to get away. And I needed to really explain that to people, in my humble opinion, because people are thinking, why is this victim who was just assaulted chasing after her abuser? Well, because she is a woman scorned and she is really hurt and irate because her man is cheating on her and she is not really looking at the fact that he was violent towards her. She's trying to get that phone to really see who he's text messaging. So she's not really thinking like a logical person right now. She's like, I just want the phone. And that's why they're still tussling in the streets over this phone. And he's just trying to get away from her because he doesn't want her to get access to the phone. He doesn't basically want to get caught. And as you can see close up, how he was very rough with just picking her up like she was a mannequin and just trying to toss this girl into the car. Like that just shows a sense of aggression on his end. This close up shows him picking this young woman up, trying to shove her in the car like she's a mannequin or a doll. And see, look, you can see that close up where she's still pulling on his clothes because she's pulling to try to get the phone. She's basically like, give me the phone. Give me the phone. Who are you texting? Who are you messaging? So it's like she didn't care how violent she was. Her determination is to get that phone to find out who is he texting. So that's why she's pulling on him and shoving at him and chasing him and being the pursuer of him. It doesn't excuse the fact that he had injured her. And you have to understand, too, when someone's adrenaline is rushing, they don't realize that if they have injuries or they're experiencing pain. So by now, her mindset and her focus is on getting this phone. Her energy is elevated. Her adrenaline is elevated because she's so determined to get this phone to find out who he's cheating on her with that she doesn't even realize that she has been injured already. By the time she figures she's been injured is when all this, everything's calmed down. The situation has subsided. And now she has to her adrenaline goes down and then she realizes that she's injured. So again, I have to explain this because again, I hear a lot of people in the comments and other places on different social media outlets saying, well, if she's been so abused, why is she the one chasing and he's running? If you have to interpret the facts and the evidence for what it is. This is a woman who is angry because she has caught her man cheating. She saw a text message from another woman talking about kissing him. She is extremely angry about this text message. And so even if he was violent towards her in the car, she is focused on getting that phone. That's why she's chasing after him. It doesn't excuse the fact that he was violent towards her and caused her injuries. She doesn't even realize that she's injured until the whole thing's over, and he's running away because he's trying to prevent himself from getting caught in the act. This is not a situation where he's the victim in this case. She's the victim, but she is so focused on being a woman scorned, and this man has cheated on her, that is her central focus. So people have to understand that. They're thinking that, oh, why is this woman chasing this man who abused her if she's so abused? Because she is, a woman who is in a relationship with a man she loves, who she suspects is cheating on her. What do you think she's going to do? A woman that's trying to get a man's phone when they suspect their man is cheating is not going to really think about the fact that they've been injured. And especially because she's been abused so many times by this guy, she's already experiencing trauma bonding, and she has experienced what is a term called battered woman syndrome. So you guys have to look at that term. Women who experience battered woman syndrome, they're so clouded by these men that are, it could be men too that are victims too, by the abuser, that they, stay with these people, and they get so used to being abused that they think in their head that the abuse is love, and it really isn't. And so this is the part of the footage where people are saying, she's so abused. Why does she go out and party with these random people she didn't know? Like I said, some people who are victims of abuse, they handle their abuse differently than other people. So the way she seems to handle her trauma is trying to basically distract herself from having to think about the trauma. Instead of having to sit in the house, cry, and think about all the stuff that's going on, her way of dealing with trauma is distraction. So she'll go out, she'll party, she'll drink the night away as a way to drink her worries and cloud herself to not think about the trauma she's dealing with. People have to understand that about victims, because otherwise they will think that this woman is being irrational, when in reality, she is just processing the trauma in a way that we may not process trauma. Everybody processes trauma in their own ways. And this is here where people are saying that she was explaining to them what happened. And so Jonathan Majors is walking up at this time. And this is the time where those guys are also looking at this guy like they want to fight Jonathan. But they too scared to come up on this dude. He looked like he'd take them down. But they look like they're already looking at him in a negative light, because she probably already explained to them what he had done to her. So he's walking to get away from her. She's trying to talk to him. He's like just ignoring her, basically don't want to have nothing to do with her, because he's at this point about to discard her. He done with her, y'all. He is done with her at this point. And she's basically going to becoming a woman scorned because of, him leaving her for Jonathan Majors. So let's keep playing this here. He's looking back. She's following him again. He's trying to get away from her. She's over here trying to get him because she want to know who this woman is that he's been texting. She's still, so this people look at this as, oh, he's being abused because he's trying to get away from her. But no, she's just thinking irrationally. I don't even know if that's her. Is that her, guys, or that's the cops at this point? I think this might be the body camera. This is the body camera, guys, of the cops following him up the stairs to his house because the police have been called due to the injuries. So that's not. This is the house, the apartment that they were living in. Well, I like this walk-in closet that he has. Look at his little shoes that he had going on. Yeah, they're getting evidence and stuff. Now, he's the one that called the police, guys, mind you, because she fell out drunk. That's how this whole thing happened. He called the police because she fell out drunk at in the closet after this happened. And people are blaming her, like they always do, blame the victim, saying, oh, well, if she was so abused, why did she come home drunk and all that? Because this woman, this is the way she handles trauma. She handles trauma by drinking, going to the party. She has a drinking problem. She clearly does. And that's something she needs to deal with. But it doesn't excuse the behavior that Jonathan Majors did. And Jonathan Majors is the one that got his own self caught up because he called the police because he was worried about her. And during the investigation, they saw the injuries on her. And that's how this whole thing unfolded. Okay. This woman has been so abused by Jonathan Majors, allegedly, that she was brainwashed and she probably would never even call the police. So, because she was still attached and bonded to this man, even though he had cheated on her. So that is just very sad to see this woman lay down in the closet like that, knowing, you know, he had abused her, and she was still, guys, she was not going to call the police on him. That's sad. She was not going to cheat on, she was not planning to cheat on him. Dang, I'm still shocked at that, guys. She was not going to call the police. It was Jonathan Majors, y'all, that basically got himself caught up in this charge. Because she got herself drunk like she normally does when she processes all this abuse. And after getting drunk, she just got so drunk this time because of how hurt she was after she found out that he was cheating on her with some other lady, that she ended up drinking too much and passed out in the closet. This woman was so trauma bound by Jonathan Majors that she was never going to go to the police. This whole case ended up before us because Jonathan Majors called the police worried about Jabari's welfare. And during the investigation, they saw injuries on her and she had to tell them the truth of what happened. And she's drunk, guys, mind you, she's drunk. So when people are drunk, the truth always comes out. They always end up telling everything of what happened. So she's not thinking rationally. So when she's drunk, all the truth came out of what he had done to her. She basically disclosed that he had abused her, even though Jonathan Majors was the one, guys, that called the police. Isn't that crazy? But it just shows how sad, guys. It just shows how sad this whole thing is. Let's read this article, though, because this article is going to go into the text message from the other woman, which I suspect to be Megan Good. So the assault allegations between Majors, 34, and his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, 30, have played out in public and led to a pause in the actor's rapid rise to superstardom. Well, it's actually led to the dismantling of his career, period. I don't know how anyone's going to pick this guy up again. In the last 5 years, Jonathan Majors has been one of the most promising actors in Hollywood, with Creed 3 and Marvel films weighing on his back and a perennial place in the A-list ahead. And then Majors and his ex-girlfriend accused each other of assault, and he found his world dominated by court drama. And I can see where this is going, where Jonathan Majors has been brainwashing Megan Good, telling her, you see, when a black man's been abused by a white woman, you know, these cops just jump to the conclusion that this black man abused this white woman, and I'm being, you know, blackmailed by society's racisms and prejudices. But boy, bye. You have a abuse issue and anger issues, and your aggression came to the light. The truth came out about you. It don't matter if you're black, white. Okay, it don't matter. Like Michael Jackson said, it don't matter if you're black or white. Okay. Anyway, even though we do admit that there are societal prejudice that can have effects on certain things, I think in this particular case, it had nothing to really do with race. It had to do with the objective facts that came at hand. Then Majors and his ex-girlfriend accused each other of assault. Majors has denied the allegations, and the district attorney declared that the allegations against his ex-girlfriend prosecutorial merit. The allegations between Majors 34 and his ex-girlfriend have played out in the public. I'm trying to find that text message, guys. Okay, Jabari, a British choreographer and dancer, is in the midst of a fight that could resonate even wider by providing another successful case in the war against abuse and by providing fodder for those who seek to discredit Believe Women. Majors was arrested March 25th in New York City on allegations he choked, assaulted, and harassed her. The New York City Police Department said at that time. Subsequent charges stemmed from the alleged incident. Earlier morning, Major pleaded not guilty. Now, this is the girl, Grace Jabari, who has the drinking issue. She needs to get rehabbed, too, because she has issues, too, y'all. She's not innocent, but she did not deserve to be abused either, at all. She did not. Following the dispute in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan, she was taken to the hospital with minor injuries to her head and her neck. This man has abusing this girl's head left and right, you guys. He is a mess. He is a mess. It's good that he got convicted because now he can get the help he needs. Hopefully it'll help him learn how to process his anger issues, and hopefully he could be a better man for Megan Good through going through anger management. It actually will help him to be a better man for Megan. So actually, this conviction is a blessing for this man to get the help he needs, and he's needed for many years, but he's gotten away with because of his prestige and his fame. The altercation started in a town. Prosecutors said Jabari grabbed Major's phone after seeing a text she believed was from another woman. Now, this is why I wanted to read this article because of this particular sentence. It says, Jabari grabbed Major's phone after seeing a text. The text said, "Wish I was kissing you right now," according to prosecutors. Now, y'all know that probably was Megan Good. Everybody else has been suspecting the same because look who he came out with after this. He was already on his way out, guys. He was about to leave Jabari. But this is kind of typical of what narcissists do. What they do is they start love bombing the new supply and get that woman prepared while they're preparing their exit plan for their current supply. So Jabari was not really a strong supply as it related to Megan Good. So he was planning to discard her. And she had already been humiliating him with all the drinking and coming home drunk and messing up his image. So he saw Megan Good as a better supply. So he was already love bombing the heck out of Megan Good by now. Taking her on these secret dates. You know, I bet you she sent this text message talking about, "Wish I was kissing you right now," and all that stuff. Because he was planning to discard Miss Jabari so that he can now take on the relationship with Megan, which is what eventually happened. After this whole incident, that gave him the ammunition to now discard Jabari and go ahead and promote and elevate his new supply to the a position of being his girlfriend, and that was Megan Good. Megan Good is the new supply, the more high-esteemed, high-value supply that he has promoted to be his girlfriend, and he has discarded Jabari, which has led to her being a woman scorned, which is why after the fact, she was determined to now proceed with seeing that this guy got found guilty, y'all, basically, okay? Now, after this text message of "Wish I was kissing you right now," Majors responded by pulling Jabari's finger, twisting her arm behind her back, striking her face in an attempt to get the phone. Prosecutors alleged. Dang, he dang. Wow. The driver stopped and the pair got out, but Majors threw her back in, officials said. The duo parted ways with Majors staying in a hotel, but returning hours later, prosecutors said. Jabari fell asleep, but when he returned home, he said he thought she had tried to commit suicide and was unconscious as a result, according to the prosecution. Majors called 911 to report what he said was the attempt, but when an operator asked him what exactly happened to Jabari, he said, "I don't know," according to a recording of the call released by the court. Police responded, Majors, who was raised in Lompoc, California, and educated in part at Yale University, seemed on his way to becoming one of the film industry's tentpole talents. We already know he starred in the 2019 independent film, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, the 2020 HBO series, Lovecraft Country, Creed 3 this year, and became known as Marvel's latest menacing villain, Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumanium. In the wake of the arrest and charges, Deadline reported that Majors was pulled from consideration for at least 2 film projects. U.S. Army recruiters pulled ads featuring the actor, and according to Variety, he was dropped by his talent major, public relations manager. Here's a timeline of Majors' arrest and trial on charges in assaulting Jabari. March 25th, he was arrested, and we already went over that before. He was released with a limited temporary restraining order, customary following domestic abuse allegations limiting contact. And then March 26th, charges were filed. The Manhattan District Attorney filed 3 counts of third-degree assault, 1 count of second-degree assault, and 1 count of aggravated assault, all misdemeanors against the star. The complaint alleges that he struck Jabari in the face with an open hand, leaving her with a laceration behind her ear, that he grabbed her hand, causing swelling and bruising to her finger, and he put his hand on her neck. The altercation unfolded in the backseat of a vehicle, prosecutors say. Major's attorney, Priya Chaudhry, says at the time that he is completely innocent and that the car's driver and video footage would prove it. She vows the charges would be dropped. March 30th, that's when Majors accuses Jabari, and he tries to just make her look bad because of her drinking issues. So that went against her. April 26th, court issues the restraining order. May 9th, making a court appearance. All this stuff went on. I don't really want to go into all that. Blah, blah, blah. Jabari was arrested, guys, on October 25th. So basically, he filed charges against Miss Jabari, alleging she was violent towards him, okay? So then she was arrested. So she turned herself in October 25th because of the cross complaint. She was arrested on charges of assault and criminal mischief, and she was released with a desk appearance ticket. Hours before Jabari's arrest, a judge denies motion to dismiss the assault against Majors. Jabari's case is closed, guys, on October 26th. So the district attorney decided not to prosecute her because they said it lacked prosecutorial merit. So they never actually filed charges against Jabari. I got to make that clear, because even though the officers arrested her, because basically what happened was Jonathan Majors' attorneys went to the police officers and said, here, we have evidence that Jabari assaulted our client. Here, you need to arrest her. So although the officers submitted a report to the prosecutors said, no, we're not going to file this. This does not have enough evidence. Clearly, she was defending herself when he was violent towards her, so we're not going to file charges. So they didn't file charges against her. So we just come down to the current situation now, that basically Jonathan Majors' career is over. He has been found guilty of the 2 lesser charges. And it comes down to the opinionators and the litigators to let us know what you guys think of this guy. Do you guys think he deserves a second chance at fame, or do you think his career is over? What do you guys think about Megan Good and involved in all this? Let me hear what y'all have to say. Now, Delana says she chased him blocks trying to get that phone. That's what she was trying to do. You know, when a woman is so in love with a dude, it don't matter. He may have did all that stuff to her in the car, but she is in love with this man and he's cheating on her. So she's trying to get the phone. Okay. She said, yes, he did. And it's been said in the beginning, the driver was going to testify against Majors, then changed up a lot. Right. Because he paid her. He paid the driver. He has money. He has fame. He has prestige. So he tainted that driver, man. That driver changed his testimony. Jonathan to Megan, will you be my Michelle Obama and hold me down? Megan, baby, you know I will. I got you. Exactly, Joey. Joey, you are explaining a woman. You're explaining this woman right now. This woman who is brainwashed by Jonathan Majors right now. He did. He said that he probably did say that to Megan Good. I could put money on it. And she's holding him down like Michelle, like his Michelle Obama or Miss King would do. Okay. Oh, Delinda doesn't think that the Megan Good relationship is real. Girl, you might be right. You might be right. But in a way, what if it is real? That text message was real. And they had been secretly seeing each other. So he had his eye on Miss Megan Good, y'all, after she had that divorce. He was like, that's going to be my Coretta Scott King. Okay. Okay, let's see what hi Joey says. You think he's paying her to help him look better? You know, people were thinking that. That's a good, Joey and Delinda. That is what a lot of people have said about the Megan Good. And at first, I used to think that. But the more I've been analyzing their relationship and their dynamics of the relationship, it looks like it's actually a real relationship. Especially that text message talking about, I can't wait to kiss your lips and all that. It looks like he had already been secretly seeing Megan Good. And Megan Good likes bad boys, guys. You look at her history of guys she's dated in the past. The only good guy that she had was Mr. Franklin. That was it. So I don't know. Joey says, that's crazy. In one breath to pressure his ex to be like two iconic Black women and then threaten to take his own life. Something I can't see. MLK. Right. Right. Joey, you said it way better. I love that. He's right. Joey's right. Like, you over here trying to tell her to be these pillars of light, like Michelle Obama and Coretta Scott King. But at the same time, you're not even exhibiting the qualities of Martin Luther King or Barack Obama, because Barack Obama wouldn't be over here manipulating women, abusing them, threatening to kill himself after the woman's trying to seek medical attention. Boy, bye. He is weird. I'm shocked that I was scared when I was coming up with my opinion about this story, because I thought people in the comments were going to come for me and be like, girl, why are you not supporting this Black man in celebrity? Y'all need to support him because he's a Black celebrity. It don't matter if he's Black, white, Mexican, Hispanic, Asian. I don't care what his color is. I don't care what his fame is. I just want to look at the facts and the allegations alone. That's all I'm looking at. I don't care who or what, where, why Mr. Majors is. He could be a white man if all I care. All I care about right now is looking at what happened and what the evidence was presented in court. That's all I'm looking at. So I'm glad people are at least doing the same thing. Our opinionators are not being clouded by this man's prestige or the color of his skin. Oh, man. Oh, Joey says Megan starred in and executive produced a Lifetime movie about a married woman who was being horribly abused by her physically husband. A definite thriller. Wow. It's crazy how she produced a movie of abuse and she's out here with this abuser. But I told you, she's already been trauma bonds to this man. He has manipulated her. He has already clouded this woman's mindset. So she is just brainwashed at this. She's long gone, guys. Megan Good is gone. He's already worked on her head. Marco says Majors is a clown. He is. He is. The truth about Mr. Majors is coming to the light, you guys. He has portrayed himself as this pillar of light for the community, but underneath it all, he has been abusive. He allegedly has anger issues, as he already admitted in a text message. He's manipulative. He only cares about himself. He doesn't even care about the welfare of, the people here with. Marcos says, why do Black men love average white women? Marcos, that is a question I have too. I have no idea. But, I don't judge people on who they date. They're who they could date who they want to. So I just don't know. And I really could care less who they date. So, and I do think I agree with Majors, Marcos on this, that he should go to Africa to learn his history as well. Because I went to Africa twice this year and it changed my life. It really did help me learn the history of our culture. But he really does need to just go there and learn more about his culture and really see what his ancestors went through, because he really has a lot of growing up to do. I don't feel like he really has grown up. Right. Gaslighting, girl. He was straight up. Delana, preach. I'm telling you, I feel like Jonathan Majors' behavior is consistent with a narcissist. He uses gaslighting, projecting, manipulation. He does love bombing. Like, come on. I think, in my opinion, he's a narcissist, but that's just me. Okay, Marco says nobody cares about Jonathan. Oh, Delana says, well, in my opinion, his mistake was being in a toxic relationship. Yeah, he was, Delana. He was definitely in a toxic relationship. In my opinion, I think both of them were toxic, though. I think Jabari has drinking issues and she needs some rehab. She needs help. The woman is an alcoholic, from based on the stuff that we've seen. And Jonathan Majors, he's got anger issues and he can't control his temper and his hands, because he just seems to just put his hands on women and manipulate them and abuse them, because he can't control his impulses. So he needs to go to anger management. So both of them need help. Like Delana said, this was an all-around toxic relationship, period. But Megan Good, oh Lord, Megan Good gonna go through it, y'all. I don't even want to go into what Megan Good gonna go through, but I have no empathy for her, because I feel like she likes bad boys and she's gonna get what she is desiring. She's trying to get the polar opposite of the man she married, because she wasn't happy in the marriage with Mr. Franklin, because she felt so much pressure from the church to be holier than thou when that's not who she is. And so she wanted to go for a man that was the polar opposite of what her ex-husband was. And she got that now. But she's in for an emotional roller coaster that's going to lead to many years of therapy. And it's going to be interesting to see her story after all this. And what I predict too is Miss Jabari is going to go on a press tour. She's going to be going through a lot of interviews. She probably is going to author her own book of how she overcame abuse by a star. And she is going to make a lot of money from this experience, guys. So Jabari is going to really milk the heck out of this, because she is a woman scorned. Once he left her for Megan Good, I knew that was going to set off a roller coaster of Miss Jabari basically going after this guy for all he has. So I wouldn't be surprised if she takes a civil lawsuit out against him too, and just milk him of his money too, because now Jabari is a bittered woman. She's bitter. He left her for the woman he was cheating on her with, allegedly. And now she's going to take this man for everything that he has. He messed with the wrong one. He thought it was so cute to get this woman, and he messed with the wrong one, y'all. He thinks he's going through it now. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't take out a civil lawsuit, writes a book, goes on a press tour. We will wait and watch and see what Miss Jabari does next. But after he has left her for Miss Megan Good, he messed up. He should have just stayed with the girl. I know that sounds bad. It was a restraining order, but he should have kept that Miss Megan Good relationship under wraps until this case closed, because maybe he would have gotten acquitted, because she might not have participated as a witness in the case, which would have made the prosecution's case a little more weak without her testimony. But he screwed up when he basically came out with Megan Good, because that basically lit the fire of Miss Jabari. Now Jabari is about to go after this man for everything he has and destroy and dismantle any future that he may have in Hollywood. Okay. Right. So Delana says, I thought those text messages told a lot of the story when it came to their relationship and their toxic relationship, in my opinion. I agree with Delana that those text messages told it all, because when individuals are texting their spouse or whoever, they're not thinking that the public is going to get a hold of those text messages. So a lot of times the text messages will unfold the underlying truth and the context of what's going on in that relationship. And there was a lot of toxicity that we noticed when we were reading those text messages. You could see a lot of the manipulation and the gaslighting and the projections that Mr. Majors was doing. And he's doing the same thing to Miss Megan Good, but right now he is in the love bombing phase with her, in a brainwashing phase of him portraying himself as a victim. So she is feeling sorry for him. He's saying, woe is me, my life is over. And Miss Megan, you can already see that Megan is brainwashed by her statements and her over here crying in the trial. Girl, bye. This person said he tried to turn some type of there needs to be some type of psychiatric analysis of who he is and get a diagnosis as to what his mental illness is, because I really think this guy has narcissistic tendencies. And I think if they really he went to go get psychiatric review, they probably would diagnose him as a narcissist, because he is really doing things that is consistent with what a narcissist would do, like the grandiose perception, I am a great man. Now that has some accurate to the, him being a great accomplished man, but the way he said it and how he said it made me think of him of thinking of himself as superior to other human beings, which is kind of similar to somebody who's a narcissist who puts themselves above all individuals, and they lack a sense of empathy for other individuals. If we were just to analyze some of the text messages alone, I think we could really make an analysis that this guy is a narcissist. But I really hope that he gets psychiatric review to really find out if he is in fact a narcissist, because he is really displaying those characteristics. Now, guys, Christina says it was Megan texting him, honey. Miss Vanilla didn't like that. Right. Y'all know that was Megan talking about, I can't wait to kiss those lips. She wanted to kiss them big chocolate lumps. Them lips look good, girl. I'm not gonna lie. I can see why Megan couldn't wait to kiss them lips. Okay, I could just see it, because he be using them lips in all his magazines. He know what he be doing with them lips in all them pictures. Y'all already know. He know. So anyway, even though Joey, yes, I agree that Megan deserves better, but she has to want better for herself, and clearly she does not. So I'm staying out of it. I'm not going to be getting involved in that in any way, and I'm going to let it play out as it should. I think it's a good thing that this man was convicted, because, guys, it's going to help him really deal with his anger issues, and hopefully it'll be for the better for Megan. Because if he's getting a lot of therapy, then maybe he will be able to treat Miss Megan better. But again, these people, it's hard for them to change, you guys. So I really don't know. He might be on his best behavior for the benefit of himself, but the emotional trauma that she's going to go through, he may be nice to her now, but now that he's about to lose everything, this is when she's going to start to see the mask come off. Because when a narcissist starts to lose everything, they become aggressive. Okay? They become aggressive. He may not be physically aggressive to Megan, but emotionally. He may not be as polite with her. He might be more moody with her. He might be more short-tempered with her. Of course, he's not going to put his hands on her because he don't want to end up in another situation like this. But I'm just saying the way that he speaks to her is going to change, because he is basically experiencing a narcissistic injury. He's losing everything. He's experiencing multiple injuries at this point. He's got significant amounts of injuries being elicited on him by losing all of his prestige, his fame, his contracts. He lost Marvel, Disney. He lost the Army commercial. He lost his, who was that? I guess his PR abandoned him. So he is experiencing a lot. So what narcissists end up doing, they take it out on the one that's closest to them. So of course, he's smart enough not to put his hands on Miss Megan, but I'm telling you, he's not going to be as nice. And she'll start to see some of that perfection that he has been displaying himself in the manipulation. All that's going to start to crack. And once it cracks, she'll start to see bits and pieces of Mr. Major's rage and how he talks to her. Now, none of us will be able to find that out, because y'all know Megan never, ever shares her relationships. So we will never know that. But I'm just telling you how narcissists really act. Now, Tavia, she has a point. She says he's not going to get aggressive with Megan. He knows not to, right? He know better, because he know that's going to mess up everything for him. What about her? She was chasing him as well. Yeah, Angela, I got into that at the end. The reason why she was chasing him, because she really was trying to get the phone. Like, when a woman's being cheated on, it overshadowed the fact that she was abused, that he was hitting her, all that stuff, because her focus was on getting the phone to find out who he's cheating on her with. So she didn't even realize that she was injured until after the fact. After the whole issue cooled down, he was gone. She was sitting there, alone with her own self and those people that was talking to her. Then she started to realize the pain. The pain started to come. Then she started to notice the bruising. And in order to distract herself, that's when she went out to drinking and partying and stuff, because that's how she copes with trauma. She has a very toxic way of handling trauma in her life. So, Angela, that's kind of that explains, in my humble opinion, what was going on with why she was chasing him. Because people was saying, well, why is she chasing him? He's so abusive. Because, guys, Victims don't think of things rational like you and I. You're not in the situation, so you cannot possibly understand what this woman is thinking and what she's going through. But her man just cheated on her and she just found out. And so she's determined to really unfold and disclose what this man has been doing to her. Okay. Joey says, I hope someone in Megan's circle is encouraging her to view him as just a friend. Guys, let me keep it real. When a person is involved in a relationship like this and they're experiencing a trauma bond, there's nothing you can do but pray for them. That's all you can do, because it doesn't matter who's her friend, her mom, her uncle, her cousin, her sister, her brother. Anybody can come and tell her to leave him. Megan Good is not going to leave him until she is ready to leave him. So in those situations, all you can do is be on the outside and pray. That's it. Alicia said, now he want to come back to the sisters. Bye. Right, Alicia. Now when he going through stuff, now he want to come back to the black girl. Oh boy, bye. Go back to what you really, your preference, what you really want, because you do not really want Megan Good. You're just using her as a supply to get to where you want to go. That's why you came out with Megan Good, because it made you look good in your image. Right. Rob says she's too old, but you know, these women don't matter how old people are, y'all. Like Delana says, she wanted evidence. Any woman would want evidence, you know, especially a woman who's experiencing trauma bonding too. She's been abused by him so much that she thinks the abuse is love. And who else knows what her other motive is? The guy's famous. So she has the clout, she has the fame, she has all of the benefits of being with this man of prestige and fame. So yeah, she wanted evidence, of course. She wasn't thinking like a rational person like you and I, who are not in that relationship, would be thinking. You know, people on the outside who don't understand relationships or the dynamics of a trauma bond or a battered woman syndrome, or even a woman, period, who's in a relationship with a man who's cheating on her. Like, that's just basic knowledge. If you're not in that situation and you don't understand it, you may think this woman is crazy because she just got abused in the car. He just tried to throw her in the car and she would be afraid of her abuser. But at that point, she's not thinking rational. She's not thinking like you and I would be thinking. She's thinking, the man that I love is cheating on me. And I saw this text message and I'm trying to get to that phone. Who is on the phone? I want to see the phone. That's why she kept pulling at him and he's trying to get away from her, because he's trying to prevent her from seeing the phone. That's why you see the video surveillance of her running after him, pulling at his clothes, because she's trying to get the phone. Unsuccessfully, she never gets the phone. So then what does she do? She goes and drinks her issues away. She gets too drunk, ends up passed out in the closet because she is so heartbroken, guys. And that's how some people handle heartbreak. They go out and they drink and party. It doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve justice. And it also doesn't mean that she's innocent in the situation either. Both individuals are toxic. Like I said, my opinion is she needs to go to rehab for her alcohol addiction. He needs to go to anger management to get a whole control of his impulses and his abuse. All right. I know I talked your ears off for several hours, but that's just how I analyze stuff. I'm sorry about that, but I got to really delve into it and be thorough. That is how it is. Let me know what you guys think about this story. I think the jury got it right. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the jury didn't get it right? Let me know in the comments what your opinion is. What do you guys think is going to be the sentencing after the fact? Let me know. All right. Take care, guys.